Konnichiwa, and welcome to Tsuki no Ame, where we try Japanese snacks and treats. Today we have two snacks to try from Sakura Co. So the first, I'm a little nervous about it. They're calling these our seafood crackers. Apparently the flavors include things like shrimp and crab, as well as seaweed. And the reason I'm nervous, we haven't really talked about it a lot recently. But it is something that's come up on the channel a few times, which is the seafood curse, which is that something about the process, because I grew up really loving things like shrimp. I like fish, I like seafood. But, if it gets old, then it kind of gets the stink. And there's something about the process for some of these where, sometimes it turns out great, but sometimes you kind of get that kind of old seafood flavor to it. So even though I really have historically liked seafood, kind of get a little nervous when we get these. This is going to be interesting. I'm hoping it turns out well. We're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to give it a try. We're also going to try, this is our Daruma Senbei. This one is flavored with soy sauce, and then on the back, it's actually covered in a spice blend known as shichimi, which, if I remember correctly, is kind of like a blend of 7 different spices and flavors, things like that. I don't know a ton about what's actually in shichimi. I just know that we've run across it a couple of times. I do think it's going to be good, so I'm very curious to see how all this turns out. With all that in mind, let's get started. Itadakimasu! Alright, starting with our seafood crackers. Their little fan thing is cute. I'm very, very nervous about these crackers. Oh, they do really, really smell like fish. I'm grabbing a green one because I'm hoping that one will be a bit more seaweed. I like seaweed. I think it's tasty. There are several different types in there. That one was definitely mostly seaweed. That was really pretty good. Had a nice satisfying crunch. I'm going to pull out another one that looks like it might not be quite as fishy as some of the others. Alright, and that one that is probably guaranteed to be. Just because, unfortunately, I do have to find out if it gets hit by the seafood curse. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay. So they have a really crispy crunch to them. They're fried and the crunch is satisfying. It is really satisfying to chomp on these. Part of why I was willing to try multiple ones, trying to get different flavors. I'm not sure how much of individual flavors I was really getting. I think it was mostly just sort of the base cracker flavor mixed with that frying effect that kind of gave it a little bit of grease, which is really nice and pleasant. I think the last one probably was the most seafood-like. The flavor wasn't super strong, so if you're somebody who's really wanting it to taste strongly of the seafood, these aren't for you. But it also meant that it didn't really have the stank. It smelled stronger of seafood than it actually tasted. The green one with this that was a bit more seaweed flavor, kind of nice. Not too bad. But again, not super, super strong. The big twisty one, I feel like didn't really have much of a flavor aside from that base cracker flavor, which hadn't been particularly flavored like any sort of seafood. Um, but actually, like, the base cracker itself had a really good flavor, again, because of that frying effect, that little bit of grease, a little bit of salt. It just kind of works. So, if you get the chance to try, might be worth it, just because, again, the seafood flavor isn't super strong, and so we're not really getting a lot of the seafood curse in there, which is really appreciated because it has been the seafood curse can be a problem. So better than I thought. Moving on to our Daruma Senbei. I'm kind of curious to see how I'm going to get in here, just because that does have a sticker right over what they have. There we go. We have our little Daruma. I don't know that the scent is particularly strong, but you can see the back is just covered in this spice blend. All right. Okay. I'm gonna try to make this quick. Is really nice and crunchy. Very firm crunch. Really satisfying to chomp. Flavor-wise, so a lot of times the stuff that's comes as spicy, some of it just really kind of isn't. I'm very much a spice wimp. This is very spicy. Extremely spicy. Um, it does have good flavor to it though, so while it has quite a bit of heat, it does actually have flavor to it. It's not just um, heat for the sake of heat, if that makes sense. So it's one of those where I think it's probably pretty good, but it's definitely one where, if you're a spice wimp, you might want to proceed with caution. I should have taken a much smaller bite than I did. It is good, it's just very, very spicy. Gochiso-sama. So to recap, we did our seafood crackers, which weren't bad. They were these fried crackers that are really light and airy, have a really satisfying crispy crunch to them. Really pretty good. You definitely get more of like the oil and the grease flavor-wise. There's not a lot of the seafood in there, but what there is in there, it does dodge the seafood curse. This is a seafood one that is actually pretty good. We also tried our Daruma Senbei, which had a really satisfying crunch to it. Just really pleasant to chomp on. Definitely on the spicy side if you are a spice wimp. Beware. But really pretty good. It's not just all for the sake of heat. It does have some good flavor in there. Really pretty good. Definitely worth the time. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. If you like my show, the link for that is down in the description below. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Johnny.